Electro Demon.
僕がおさむくんです。
どけ。俺一人でよけりゃ後で好きなだけ付き合ってやる。
何舐めた口聞いてんだおっさん。
トラブル発生。車はまだか。
到着まで3分。
Like a Dragon, Gaiden, the man who raised his name, is a brand new game from the very well-known studio Ryuga Gotoku Studio. Have you ever heard of Yakuza games? Well, this is it. This is not a mainline Yakuza game, but rather a smaller scale side game that fills some of the plot holes. You play as Kazuma Kiryu, a legendary Yakuza, and also the main protagonist of all Yakuza games up until Yakuza 7, I believe. Basically, you've erased your name and faked your death and made a deal with a certain group known as the Daidoji. In return for your sacrifice, the children of the orphanage you used to run are safe and provided for. That's the main short gist of it. You now go by the name of Joryu instead of Kazuma Kiryu, but as with any Yakuza game, things don't go exactly to plan, and basically there's a whole grander plot about the two biggest Japan Yakuza groups, the Tojo clan and the Omi alliance, dissolving completely. And of course, this cannot be done without the legendary Dragon of Dojima, Kiryu-san, or now known as by her new name, Joryu. That's as much as I'm comfortable talking about the story without treading into spoiler territory too much. It's a fantastic story, and as you would expect from Ryuga Gotoku Studio. The voice work is in Japanese and there are subtitles available, and honestly, if there were an English dub and you played it, you'd be dead to me. This just seems like a shitty way to play. Yakuza games were always meant to be played with the original Japanese dub. I think a lot gets lost without it. Acting is great and the performance is also great. Let's talk about the gameplay. This is an adventure game with combat being beat 'em up, quite rare these days. I never could get into the new turn-based combat, and I'm not happy about this. I finished all mainline Yakuza games as well as Judgment and Lost Judgment, but I've never even touched the turn-based games. I just can't get into it. Thankfully, this game retains the old-school real-time brawls. Joryu has two styles he can choose from. The Agent, which has you using a hook and a lot of gadgets, and also the Yakuza style, the traditional style, focusing on dodges, punches, and generally old-school fighting. Agent style is more suited to deal with larger groups of enemies, while Yakuza is geared for more one-on-one fights. I prefer the OG style, even for fights with multiple enemies. I just like that style more. You can change styles on the go. Heat attacks are still present here, and also extreme heat mode in which you deal more damage. Heat attacks are the shit, bro, so satisfying to use and they look cool as hell. You'll be dealing with numerous enemies and a lot of boss fights. Multicolored health bars for bosses have made a return here, with some bosses having like 5 colors before going down. I mean, I'm used to this since I'm a huge fan of the series, but I'd rather have one health bar for each boss. But the bosses are great, and they've always been in every Yakuza game, especially the last boss. Just wow. Aside from the main missions, there are countless side activities for you to partake in.
どやあの一番奥のやつキャッスルやろ
大阪城。
そう巨大コンテナ船に大阪城を持った大人のアミューズメントパークここに出入りできるんは指折りの VIP だけなんやで
There's a whole array of minigames like golf, karaoke, darts, and plenty more. There's also this new game called Immersive Cabaret. Basically, you talk with girls, give them presents, and they provide you company. But this time around, these girls are real women, not just video game character models. I like these sections, and the two girls on offer are hot as fuck. They've got some attributes. Let's put it like that.
私アメリカ生まれなので日本語とかちょっと発音分かりにくかったらごめんなさい。
十分自然だと思うぞ。
本当ですか？日本語で話したくていっぱい勉強したんです。
The side missions are tied with Akame Network. And as you complete side missions, you earn money as well as Akame points. To upgrade your abilities, you need to spend both money and Akame points. So in some sense, a certain number of side missions become mandatory if you want to level up. I'd much rather have a standard XP system for leveling instead of Akame points and money. There's also the Colosseum. This is basically an abandoned ship that's been converted to a glamorous fighting arena. And in here you can participate in various matches. This is optional, but at some point in the story you'll have to do it as the game will force you. There are ranks: bronze, silver, gold and platinum, and by completing matches you rank up. Each higher rank offers more money if you win, but also more difficult enemies. This time around you're not gonna be in Kamurocho like in many previous Yakuza games. Instead you'll be spending the majority of your time in Sotenbori, a city well known to Yakuza veterans. It looks phenomenal. Like a Dragon Ishin used Unreal Engine 4, but this game is actually using the proprietary Dragon engine. I'm not sure why, but it does look great. Characters look great, environments are sharp and nicely detailed, but the Dragon engine shows its age in the lighting department. It looks a bit dated, but I don't mind this. As for the music, it's still awesome as fuck. It's Japanese techno synth with some guitars, and it's really fucking awesome. Gets your blood pumping. Is this game for you? Well, if you're a fan of this series, yeah. For newcomers, I'm not so sure. This is a shorter game than the regular Yakuza games, clocking it around 10 hours for the main story and some side content. It's a great game, but with some flaws. The game is short and it's sometimes forcing you to play side content to hide its length. The side activities or sub-stories are not as good as in the mainline Yakuza games. Graphically, it's a solid game, but the Dragon Engine shows its age. Not sure why the sudden switch from Unreal Engine. Other than that, it's a great game, especially for fans of the series. And it's not a full-priced game, and I like that. If I had to give a score to this game, I'd give it 8.6 out of 10.